So today, guys, I'm going to be making a quick video about one of the principles that I created when I first had the idea of creating this page. And a lot of you guys, probably if you're on this page and you watch videos like Identity Change that go into self-improvement from a different lens, you probably watch a lot of content around this subject. Some of you are very serious. Some of you are not so serious. You're just looking for the next dopamine hit to get. And you're clicking video after video, and you're probably wondering, you know exactly what to do, you know what you need to start doing right now, but you never seem to be able to stay consistent on the road that you're currently on. And I just wanted to give you guys a principle that I came up with. So the very first principle I believe you need to do in order to radically transform your life and have a true identity change where you reinvent yourself into the person you want to become is the first principle is you've got to refuse the life you do not want. You might have heard me mention it in a few videos in the past. But I sort of just wanted to touch up on this subject and give you guys sort of a better understanding of that concept. So for many years, like some of you watching this, I was watching self-improvement content. Video after video, thinking to myself that if I just get the next video and I watch the next secret to success, I'm going to know the exact secret I need to do in order to start making money. But of course, the road to success is not that straight. It's not that easy to go down. There's roadblocks. There's all sorts of different challenges that you need to navigate, a lot of them mentally, that are going to hold you back, that you need to deal with before you're able to actually stay consistent. But one of the things that will get you moving down that path very quickly is you need to learn to not like the situation you're currently in simple terms. When I use the words refuse the life you do not want, the reason I say that is because when you're refusing something, you no longer will make that thing acceptable in any shape or form. So let me give you an example. If you're a gym personal trainer and you decide that you want to take up a new client, there's different clients in the gym and you're looking for who's the exact person that you want to train, who's the person that you think is going to be a long-term client that's going to be serious. And the only thing you have is a conversation with the person to basically sort of determine whether or not they're serious or not. Some of you guys might be thinking you'll look to someone who's already got a background in fitness, track record, yes. But let's say you want somebody new, either fresh to the gym. What's the very first thing that you would look for? Well, firstly, what's the reason they got into the gym? Some people get into the gym through inspiration. A lot of people do. Whenever we get towards the end of the year, people are making New Year's resolution. Next year, I'm going to get into shape and finally change my life in my fitness. But typically, that's not enough to drive someone. It's not enough to get someone really motivated and build the momentum they need in order to continue going to the gym over a long period of time. Now, I believe that most people are truly motivated by negative motivation. In terms of starting something, the very early stages where your whole body is resisting that habit you're trying to take on or this new routine you're trying to have, negative motivation works more than positive motivation. If you just had a really horrible breakup with your significant other, they left you for someone that's in better shape, you're more likely to stay in the gym over a long period of time just from that motivation, especially at the start. That hatred you have, or that resentment almost at the start, that anger, that frustration, that's going to wake you up in the morning. And if you learn to channel that properly, you're going to stay consistent in the gym, at least for the early days. Now, is it a method that I would recommend long-term? No. I don't use resentment or anger to motivate me to film these videos. But at the very start, the motivation of filming these videos is I wanted my life to change. I had to refuse the life I did not want. Now, whenever I have a day where I'm hesitant or maybe I'm thinking of not filming a quick video like this, what I do is a simple exercise, which I recommend you guys do to help you understand this principle a little bit more. If you're in a situation right now where your life isn't turning out the way that you thought it would have at this point back in the day, or maybe you're starting to realize that there's a lot you need to work on in order to get the life you actually want. If you've got that sort of refusal, you've reached that stage where, you know what, I'm tired of watching video after video after video, I actually want to do something to move my life forward, then the very first thing you need to understand is you need to understand what your life looks like if you stay on the path that you're currently on. See, it's one thing to be motivated to make more money, right? A lot of people do have that motivation to an extent. Some people are money driven, but I would say most people are not. Most people are motivated by different things. This is why I believe if you were to offer someone who's watching this video overtime at work, if I offered you overtime at your current job that you're doing and said you could take on 30 more hours this week, would you do that? Means more money. See, you're not really money motivated, are you? See, money is a means to an end. We use the money as something that we can use to sort of either go on holiday, purchase something, but money equates to something that we actually want. Freedom is a big motivator for me. And I'm not talking about freedom from wage slavery in the sense that I don't ever want to work for my money. But what I mean is the freedom to be who I am authentically. See, one of my fears as well with this video is I have a job, right? I have things that I do in my day-to-day life. How will this affect that? Making a video like this on self-improvement, on identity change. If somebody comes across it, not necessarily that I'm saying anything that's that controversial that's going to get me in trouble, but I mean, people now know what you're doing. And really, I've used my name. But my whole thing is, if you're going to jump into something, you need to jump into it wholeheartedly. And you also need to refuse the life you do not want. You need to understand that the current path that you're on is not leading you anywhere. See, I've looked at the whole picture when I meditated on sort of the direction that I'm moving in. If I don't work on my personal brand, not only is it a detriment to myself, but to my future family, potentially. Because if you actually look at the cost of living, it's not getting any easier. If anything, the prices are increasing. There's more money making opportunities, but really the cost of living is getting more difficult and more difficult. And unless we can look at it and start to move our life in the opposite direction, in the direction that we actually want to move in, we're going to be stuck on this hamster wheel for eternity. A lot of you guys don't struggle with knowing what to do, like I said. You struggle with getting that emotional leverage you need in order to actually start doing something consistently. As long as you're comfortable, not in the sense that you're sleeping in bed. I'm talking about you're comfortable in the sense that you're looking at the road you're on and you're happy with where you are. You're never going to move forward. You need to I recommend a coach, a mentor, someone who can basically emphasize how bad your life is going to look if you don't change your life. See, this is something we do in sales a lot. We get people to realize that if they don't take up our product and service, what sort of situation are they left in? And if the situation isn't that bad, typically good sales is you just have to walk away from that sale. But if the pain that customer is having is that strong, they're having a big problem, it's causing them sleepless nights, typically they'll take up whatever product or service you offer because they need to fix the solution. They need to find a solution, right? I remember I used to watch documentaries about children who went missing. And the parents of these children who go missing, they would basically get in contact with the local authority and they would basically activate a search to find this person, right? And for a long time, I used to wonder, why is it, even though the police are doing everything they can, the news is reporting the door, this newspapers sort of put out information, the parents every single night would also go out and try and look for the daughter or the son or whoever it is in the child. And the reason is they couldn't live with the fact that they didn't do absolutely everything they could in order to basically find their child. You need to find a way to tap into that level of motivation. That right there is what you need in order to move forward. And you shouldn't take it lightly, because at the end of the day, your life is where it is right now because of the inaction you're taking. If you're taking action, then I'm sure you wouldn't be watching a video about refusing the life you do not want. You should have the life you do want. You should be watching other things. But if you're on this page and this is something you're passionate about, just like myself, you need to start understanding how bad the situation is. If you don't radically transform the money you're making in the next 5 to 10 years, what impact does it have on your children? If your family was to go through a medical situation that required you to sort of tap into a lot of money to invest into their treatment, where would the money come from? If there was an opportunity in another country, amazing opportunity, could change you, your family's life, everyone's. Do you even have the income to be able to make a move like that? And if you've got family, you've got to move more than just yourself. You've got to move them too. If you don't begin to sort of look at how you can get location freedom, what does that mean if the country that you're currently residing in begins to decline to the point that your life looks a lot worse than what it currently is? What are you going to do then? You're stuck now. You've got to just tolerate the situation that you're in. If you get a convict and he goes to jail and he comes out of jail, he's most likely going to commit the same crime again. One, of course, because the situation he's in is he's at a disadvantage now. He's got a criminal record. He's probably not going to get a job. He's probably going to resort to crime. But a lot of the times, the criminals don't learn from the first crime. So they typically come out with the attitude of going back into crime. The only time that they actually stop and say, do you know what, I'm tired of this, I'm no longer going to go down this road, is when they refuse that life. There's almost, I'm tired of going through the same motions over and over again. When they get to that point in their life, that's when they change their life. You might have a friend who's in a relationship and you know the significant other that they're with is just not good news for them. But they keep going back, keep going back, keep going back. They're going round in this circle. They're calling you maybe with the problems. You've told them multiple times, look, this is bad news for you. But they keep going back, keep going back. They haven't got to a point where they refuse this life. And as long as they don't do that, they're never going to change. I'm telling you now. It's just not possible. I'm going to keep it short because a lot of this is in my next newsletter. I told you guys I've got a newsletter called The Next Chapter. We talk about deep level identity change. We help you guys with frameworks, mindsets to take on board. I help you change the whole perspective that you're looking at your life in. You need to diagnose the character that you're currently at. See, the success you want isn't based off of what you do, it's based off of who you become. You need the creativity of a Michael Jackson and the strategic mind of a Michael Corleone. You need to plan your life the way the mafia plans a hit. Every detail accounted for. And one of the very first details you need to figure out is you need to figure out your headspace, your mindset, the way you're looking at life right now. You're looking at videos like this and you're thinking that you're going to get the dopamine hit that you need in order to start going to the gym or start building that business or start taking your life very seriously and building up the skills you need in order to get in a position of leadership. Really, you need to do it backwards. You need to begin to hate the life you're currently living. Refuse it. And from there, you can begin to move forward. I'm going to leave that there, guys. Like I said, it's a short one. My name's Tino. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell me, leave in the comments, are you someone who's more motivated by positivity or do you need negativity like myself? When you're in the gym, if you go to the gym, do you want somebody to tell you you can do it or do you want somebody to tell you that, hey, you're weak, you need to get stronger? Which one is more effective for you? For me, it's negative motivation, especially at the start. Then in order to keep momentum running for a long time, that's when we tap into inspiration, the long-term vision. But that's a subject for another day, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Let's go.